Welcome back, everybody. It's a little bit later in the morning. We're sitting here at the University of Houston for Houston Energy and Climate Week, and I have Emma sitting across from me. How you doing today, Emma?
Good morning. Thank you, Mark.
And you told me a little story, and I had forgotten. We had actually met at OTC.
We did.
For just a few seconds because it was a busy time for us.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how many months ago? It was May of 2024.
It was May, yeah.
So this was our first year as a booth holder in OTC. So obviously we were quite busy with holding the grounds. But then I noticed that you have a podcast about oil and gas, and I have a heavy background in oil and gas. So got a bit curious, found your booth and talked to two ladies representing GGN, and we meet again here.
I love it. I love it. So Emma, you're CEO of a company called Lumi Services?
Lumi Services,
Lumi Services.
Yes.
What does Lumi do?
So we are a digitalization company, and in a nutshell, we basically do digitalization of processes. And we expand into different industries because pretty much all industries have processes in their nature, whether it is on the IT side, on the manufacturing side. Anywhere you go, there are definitely embedded processes, and we come in, we look at them, we digitalize them to mostly optimize and also bring revenue back to the company, removing errors, and in a nutshell, under 30 seconds, that's what we do.
That's awesome. So basically you're driving efficiencies.
Absolutely.
And those efficiencies also equate to a less of an impact to the planet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're sitting here. It's Houston Energy and Climate Week. The room's starting to fill up. I love the fact that you help companies become more efficient. But when I say the word climate, what do you think of? What's the first thing that comes to your mind?
For me, honestly, two things. Number two, I'll start with number two, is our CO2 footprint, which leads to number one, the next generation. There is a human aspect to it, and there is a chemistry technology aspect to it, right? So I'm glad that we are here all today to look at how technology, how processes, digitalization, chemistry, science will go hand in hand to reduce that footprint, to embrace the climate issues that we have right now and improve it so we can look at the next generation and be proud of what we have done.
Yeah. You know, it's actually kind of sad. There is a lot of young people in the world that are suffering, mentally suffering from climate anxiety. And the reason I can relate to that, not that I think that climate is as big an issue as everybody thinks it is, or I should say man's involvement in climate, but the reason I can relate to all that is when I was a little boy, I was in third grade. This is in the 1970s. And then the big scare was the next ice age was coming, right? And I remember being a little boy, and I was worried about the animals in the zoo. Like, who's going to take care of the animals in the zoo when everything freezes? And it caused me anxiety. I just didn't know that's what it was. And so to have young people in today's world have to deal with that same type of anxiety over climate is really, really sad, with so many things they have to deal with being young people to begin with. And then you have another layer of stress on top of it. But I think if we have more and more communication about what's going on, more open communications, we can help communicate to the world that, number one, we all want a better planet. We all want to lessen our impact to the planet for sure. And the Earth is going to be fine. I think the issue is, are we going to be fine, right? And can we continue to add prosperity to the human species as we move forward, right? So just kind of curious some of your thoughts on that, because if y'all increase operational efficiencies, that means that you can do more with less, which is what I'm hoping where we go down the road is, as a species, as the population grows, can we continue to make sure that everybody has this type of lifestyle and also lessen our impact to the planet?
Sure. So I guess one thing that people take for granted is the fact that everybody can do one little step at a time. When we come face to face to a tragedy or a dilemma, we think we have to take big steps, but it all starts with each of us with one step, doing one recycling a day, turning off our cars when we don't need to, or from my perspective, Lumi Services, when we actually opened our company obviously, we are a for-profit company, so there's always that finance aspect of it. But we had one non-finance objective, and that was to help the climate. And we have done talks, we have done conferences, all of them are around that, because there has to be something that's dear and near to our hearts. And believe it or not, people don't think of IT as a tool to reduce pollution, to improve climate conditions, but it does, because if you think of it, anything that you reduce and you optimize, you ultimately are starting a chain of reaction of making other things better, right? For example, if you can reduce one person from coming to office every day, think of all the things that one person can reduce as that one act. And that's just one thing. And multiply that by number of processes that massive companies are running, all of these adds up. So from a technology perspective that I'm focusing on, absolutely, there are things that everybody can do, things that doesn't seem to be, I guess, important, but they are. But you're right, even talking to people who are anxious, it doesn't have to be an act, it can just be a conversation.
You're singing my song. It's the whole reason we have this podcast, so we can just talk. And I do want to go back to the technology side, but especially with large enterprise companies, technology actually is a big consumer of electricity. When you look at data centers, right? You look at the virtualization of servers. You look at the point there's some companies out there have no idea how many virtual servers they have out there, and they're running in the background. They're all consuming electricity. And the growth in data centers is happening right now because of AI, which is, since you're from a technology background, you'll laugh at me on this because you'll understand. AI's been around for a long time. It's just ChatGPT brought it to everybody's attention. It was there before, but the massive growth in data centers is increasing the demand for electricity. Electricity, here in the U.S., we have a mix of what provides that electricity, but from a tech point of view, if you could reduce those cycles, you make it more efficient, you're burning less electricity, which is good for all of us.
Absolutely. I'm at that age where NPR is my favorite band on the radio. And they had a special, I'm not kidding. They had a special a couple of days ago on AI and its impact on electricity consumption. And I was quite familiar with them because that's my field. But for the public, I'm assuming people listening to that, they would have been mesmerized by the numbers because
it's enormous.
It is. And now that it's in public's hands, for a good reason, I mean, technology should be in public's hands, we have to be more conscious of how we use it. It's already here. We all have access to the ChatGPT, but be a bit more conscious of, okay, there is a social responsibility aspect to it as well. And how do we use it? How do we protect that ecosystem? Because it could get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah, it's anytime that Google builds a kill switch into something, that's when you should be worried. And if people, you don't know what I'm talking about, all AI projects that are spawned at Google by company policy has to have a kill switch in it. So I start thinking of the movie Terminator when I heard that. So, but there's other things that people can do that can lessen their impact to the environment. And I love the point that you brought, that you can just, if everybody could do just one little thing, something as simple as changing the light bulbs in your house to LED lights, that makes
Absolutely.
a huge difference, right? Mm-hmm. And it's also very convenient for our lifestyle, because if you change the light bulbs, those LED lights last forever. You're not changing light. You don't have to worry about having backup light bulbs in your house, all the other stuff. And it's something you wouldn't think would make a big difference, but it does. So you're here for the Energy and Climate Week. What do you hope to get out of today's?
Thanks for asking. So I'm actually a volunteer with the Houston Energy and Climate Week, and tomorrow.
How did Katie Minhart rope you in?
That's another conversation for
I know.
another day.
Well, the reason I'm here, she roped me in too.
We started as a volunteer, and you know the platform, how it's not every, but many of the volunteers are running conferences in different parts of the city.
Right.
So my good colleague and I, her name is Naomi Jabari, and myself, we are running 2 days of the conferences. So tomorrow we are hosting decarbonization in University of Houston in Katy. And the day after that, we are actually dedicating a whole day to new technology, also hosted in University of Houston, Katy branch. And we have two platforms, so you can attend either in person, but we are also hosting it virtually. recording it, and we are bringing subject matter experts from different industry sectors to bring their perspective into new technology, decarbonization, and all of that goes under the umbrella of Houston Energy and Climate Week.
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. All right, so about time to wind this thing down. We're at the 10-minute mark. If people wanted to learn more about your company, where should they go?
Sure, thank you. So my company is Lumi Services, and the website is www.lumiservices.com. My name is Emma Vafi. My virtual door, which is my email, evafi@lumiservices.com, is always open. So if you have a question or a comment, or you have a new idea of how you want to participate in climate control and energy, I'm always eager to chat. And thank you for giving me the mic to talk nonstop for 10 minutes.
No, I love having you join me. And everybody will put links to Emma's company and her LinkedIn profile on in the show notes. And you just go and click on it and go to connect right there. Emma, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, folks, we will see you next time.